make any effort to go and find him. Um, in my personal case, Swami had to go and find my family, and many of us here. But as Sai youth, many of us are so blessed that we are, in fact, born into Sai families. Um, we are born into Sai families, and I like to say that for many of the Sai youth, Swami got us free of cost because he invited our parents into his fold. But when it came to us, we were already with him because, and as Sai youth, our fortune is so great because we know nothing other than Swami. And so, my gratitude to Swami for bringing us into his fold at such an early age, many of us right from birth. Yes, brother Sarthak.
Yes, brother. So, as you grew, you must have been in the company of non devotee friends during your school and college days. Did you ever feel it difficult to pursue your devotion for Swami and his teachings due to the peer pressure?
Personally, with guidance from my parents, and I offer my gratitude to my parents for raising me in such a way that I never questioned my faith in Swami, nor was I shy about it. And I wish to narrate one story related to this. So I had started going to a new school in ninth grade, and it was a brand new school, brand new set of classmates and friends. And here यूएसए में स्कूल का साल हमारे सिटी में, जर्सी सिटी में बुधवार से शुरू होता है. सो ये स्कूल का दूसरा दिन था, गुरुवार का दिन था, स्वामी का दिन. तो वो दिन मैं स्कूल को my mom went to drop me at school, and on that day, just my birthday comes in USA. The school year is from September through June, so my birthday had just passed, and for my birthday that year, my grandmother had given me a gold necklace with Swami's pendant. So on that day, Thursday, I had worn my school uniform, shirt, pant, and tie, and suit, and everything. And on top, I had worn Swami's necklace, and that Swami's golden pendant I had kept right on top of the tie of the necktie that I was wearing. That knot on top, I had kept the pendant right on the knot, so it was very much visible. I had not put it inside. So I got into the car, and my mom was dropping me to school, and my mom noticed it, saying, "Oh, why are you keeping Swami's picture out like this? Um, People see it, they'll ask you so many questions. Who is this person? All that stuff." I said, "Nothing doing. I'm keeping this pendant right here." And then my mom was in fact worried as to what will happen if some people come and ask, because these are all new people. I had not met these classmates, new teachers, everything. But anyways, so we had a little bit, but I was firm. I said, no, I'll keep this pendant. But then, as I got out of the car and I started thinking about what my mom had said, I thought, oh, maybe she's right. Maybe I should put it inside. But then, anyways, I just kept it outside. And then the school day started, and one of the classes that we had was an art class that day. And this still the second day of school, so it was still like orientation and stuff was going on. So they had done one icebreaker activity. They had got all the whole new batch. It was about 180 of us. We were sitting in a big gymnasium, in one big hall, and they said, we're going to give all of you a magazine, old magazines they had collected, and they said, we're going to give each of you a magazine, and out of that magazine you should cut out some pictures and make a collage on a separate sheet of paper. Whatever, if you can make any theme, if you see pictures of a certain color or a certain topic, like if you have one random magazine, and if you have pictures of flowers, then you can make a collage of flowers like that. It was an icebreaker activity. So I was handed one magazine, very random. I have it right here actually. It's some travel magazine. You have one lady is there, budget travel magazine. This is what I was given that day. And right at the bottom of the magazine, I had this little paper sticking out. Usually in the magazines, they'll have like a subscriber cards. If you want to subscribe to the magazine, you can fill that out and send it to them. So the subscriber card was there, And as soon as I opened the magazine to that, I just happened to open the magazine to that page, and you see there's a picture of Swami right here on the magazine. It's a picture of an altar. You have Shirdi Sai, Satya Sai, Swami's chair, and the Sarva Dharma symbol. And in fact, I read this article. It's not even about Swami. It's about interior decorating. So the caption on this picture is that this is a home which has been decorated for Diwali festival. And when I saw this, it struck me that Swami is always there to protect us and guide us. And we think that, we get into this fuss like, I have all these friends and family who are not Sai devotees. How do I speak with them? How do I tell them about Swami? And we get really nervous. But when we surrender to Swami, he does the talking for us. And that experience really drove home that lesson. Next question, please.
Yes. Welcome, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sister.
Okay. So my next question is also related to what you just said. These days we see that youngsters are generally hesitant, or they shy away from openly accepting or openly telling others that they're Sai devotees, or they're even spiritual for that matter. For example, my own colleagues, sometime back, they would say that she's too spiritual, or they would say like, आज इससे कुछ मत कहना, आज तो इसकी hotline direct जुड़ी हुई है. So, so what I want to ask you is, did you also face such peer pressure? And how do you advise that the youngsters of today should deal with this kind of pressure?
First thing is, I wish to take one of the experiences from Professor H.J. Bhagia, who serves as an MBA professor at Prashanti Nilayam. So one time he wanted to leave his post because he had some spiritual realization, and he wanted to just focus on his personal sadhana and focus on Swami. And so he went to hand his resignation letter to Bhagwan. I'll cut to the chase, I won't go into all the details, but basically he hands his resignation to Bhagwan and says, Swami, I want to leave this job because I want to focus only on spiritual pursuits and not anything to do with all this worldly stuff. And Swami told him, until you separate worldly activities and spiritual activities, I will not grant you what you're seeking, which is moksha. I will not grant you moksha for even 1,000 births. And so when we continue to separate, like, okay, this is spiritual life and this is non-spiritual life, then we itself get into this confusion. And see, Swami here was saying that I will not grant you moksha. Swami here is the sanctioning authorities, right? So even if, no matter how hard we try, no matter even if we deserve it, the sanctioning authority is saying that I will not grant you what you seek. It's impossible that we will actually get it. And so, first thing is, we should try to see that everything that we do in our life is spiritual. Everything that we do, we try to do as an offering to Swami. For example, in school, of course, my parents would want me to achieve good marks and do well. And many a times, the only thing that would motivate me to do well would be, and I would listen to all these students narrating their experiences with Swami, and many a time Swami would reward the students who would get O grades. Swami would in fact take them to Kodai and give them many such rewards. And I would if I get good grades, then Swami would be pleased. Anything we do, we should do it to please Swami. And second thing is, we should, as Swami always says, always be in good company, run away from bad company. Keeping in today's day and world, we may be, especially with technological advances, we may be tempted to have so many friends and so many connections. But if we cut that down and really have a small number of friends that take us to God, that would be preferable. For example, I have with Swami's grace, many of the friends that I have, I would say 99% of the friends that I've been blessed with in this life are all within the Sai community. And the Sai community in itself is such a huge world. We have so many people from all over the world that we can connect with. So keeping check on the type of company you keep would also help us to maintain focus and interacting with more like-minded people. Of course, we as Swami's messengers should not pigeonhole ourselves and just stay in that small circle. We are the ambassadors of Swami's message. We are his young messengers, and we have to show the world Swami's message through our actions. But trying as much as possible to gain inspiration from others, right? Swami has said, all can be our brothers and sisters, but only Swami is the true friend. But in terms of friends, if we have friends that take us closer to Swami, then they too become our guiding lights. Next question, please.
Great. I think that's why they say, tell me your company and I'll tell you about yourself. So our company really tells a lot about who we are. Can you hear me?
Yes, sister.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, brother, we know that music has been an integral part of your soul. It has been an expression of your innate love for Swami. We also know that you have composed many bhajans. So, would you like to share some interesting experiences that you had while composing a bhajan? Please do share with us.
Sure. I wish to offer my gratitude to Nagaraj sir, who is on this call, who is composer of so many Sai bhajans. And I am humbled in his presence that I am speaking on this topic. So thank you so much, Uncle, for joining this session. And please in advance forgive any mistakes that I may make in either singing or speaking about the composing of bhajans. So in terms of composing, I honestly feel that all the bhajans that have existed, currently exist, and will exist in the future are kind of already scattered in the ether, in the akasha. And Swami just decides to pull out one by one, and use people like us as a vehicle to just bring it out to the world. Because I am not in any way learnt in Sanskrit. I am more of a percussionist than I am somebody who works with melodies. And so many times when bhajans are composed, they just come automatically with the tune and the words. And anytime I've ever tried to sit in with a harmonium or tanpura and decide like, okay, I want to compose a bhajan about this particular topic, it never really works. We always have to just wait for Swami's inspiration to come, and that actually comes at the most random times. So one time, I'll narrate one experience of one of the favorite bhajans that Swami has blessed us with. I also wish to mention about my brother Siddharth Shivakumar. He and I co-compose a lot of these bhajans. So sometimes he will be have an idea with the tune, and I'll get some idea with some words, and we'll call each other and start composing bhajans on the phone. This happens quite regularly. This one particular bhajan, it was on the day of Mahashivratri 2018, and the Akhanda bhajan was there starting from 6 p.m. in the evening. And that morning I was doing all the final preparations for the Akhanda bhajan, making the bhajan lists ready, printing out all the lists, making the PowerPoint slides and everything, getting the live stream, everything ready. And I was inserting this darshan video of Swami that would be played while we are doing the Veda chanting at the beginning of the program. And I wanted to get some very grand footage of Swami. So I had taken the darshan of Swami's, that Sahasra Purna Chandra darshan of Swami that was held in 2008 on the conjuncture of Swami's 83rd birthday. And on the last day of that, that Swami had seen 1,000 full moons. So a huge yajna was organized in the Hillview Stadium. And on the last day, Swami was brought out on the Koti Surya Suvarna Ratham, the golden chariot of the sun. And that is one of my favorite darshans of Swami. And so I was cutting that video and putting it into the PowerPoint. And then I was just measuring the length of the video, making sure it was long enough for that Veda chanting. And towards the end of that video, Swami comes on the stage where the yajna is going on. And there's a huge statue of Venkateshwara, Lord Venkateshwara, at the back of the stage. And Swami is being wheeled past that statue. And I thought, this is Swami's Sahasra Chandra Darshan, but yet there's a Venkateshwara statue is here. And I was thinking, why not just have a picture of Swami, or why not just have Swami's throne as the centerpiece of the stage? But anyways, there was Venkateshwara was there. I was just thinking, why would have Swami chosen to have Venkateshwara in that spot? And I tried to understand, but then maybe many of the priests would have come from Tirupati, or whatever reason was there, right? But then as Swami says, don't try to understand me, just experience me. And in that moment, I was just looking at that video, cutting it for the PowerPoint, and suddenly seeing Venkateshwara's darshan there. On Shivratri day, Swami blessed us with a Venkateshwara bhajan. That is Tirumalesha Prabhu Govinda. If you permit, we can render that bhajan.
Yeah, sure, Bhaiya. I think we're all just waiting for that.
Sure. I wish to introduce our co-musicians here. I have to my left Brother Bala Parashuraman. He actually is an alumni of the Shri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He has played violin in front of Swami for 5 years and beyond. He studied in Swami's school from 1994 to 1999. And to his left, I have Sister Ramya Varanasi. She's a civil engineer, and she's a classically trained singer. And all of us, we attend the Jersey City Sai Center, and we are very grateful to Swami for this opportunity to sing for the listening pleasure of the Swami within the hearts of all of you. So we'll start with this.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, sister.
तिरुमलेश प्रभु गोविंदा तिरुमलेश प्रभु गोविंदा वेंकटरमणा गोविंदा वेंकटरमणा गोविंदा बोल तिरुमलेश प्रभु गोविंदा संकट हरणा परति विहारा संकट हरणा परति विहारा
Beautiful, Bhaiya, beautiful. It was so melodious and such clarity in your voice. We really enjoyed it. Now I think we have already moved into the most awaited part of the evening. Now we will not interrupt you and we leave the stage to you. Please sing for Swami and his bhaktas.
Sure. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This talk was titled Hum Tere Hai Sai, and actually that's not a title that I had chosen. It just happened to show up on the flyer, and actually I was very excited to see it. And so yesterday when Bala Anna and I sat down for practice, we were looking, I showed him the flyer, and he just suggested, why don't you sing that song? So to offer our gratitude to Swami, we'll offer that song Hum Tere Sai. हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं, हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं। दिल की आवाज़ है होठों पे बस यही राग है, दिल की आवाज़ है होठों पे बस यही राग है। हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं। चाहे बदल जाए ये जहान, धरती बने चाहे आसमां, चाहे बदल जाए ये जहान, धरती बने चाहे आसमान, हम सदा तेरे साथ रहेंगे प्यार की नगरी में, सदा प्यार की नगरी में सदा। हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं, हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं। अब कुछ न चाहिए साई हमें, अब कुछ न चाहिए साई हमें, बस चाहिए एक प्यार तेरा। अब कुछ न चाहिए साई हमें, बस चाहिए एक प्यार तेरा। तेरे प्यार में ही मिलती है तेरा चाहत की बहार में, हर चाहत की बहार में। हम तेरे हैं साई, हम तेरे हैं, हम तेरे हैं साई, हम when we sing for Swami, it is He Himself who is singing through us. That divine flow, that divine river of love that gurgles within our hearts makes our soul sing. And just as the bumblebees buzz near flowers to gather honey, we pray to Swami to always keep us near Him at His feet, to always gather the nectar of His divine love. There's a beautiful Telugu song that describes this relationship between the bhakta, between us devotees and Bhagwan. Telugu is certainly the mother tongue of our beloved Lord. And so, whenever we offer anything to Swami, at least one song, ek to Telugu mein ho jaye. So we'll sing this song for Swami. Karnu karnula mundare kadali yade. కణుల ముందర కడలియాడి కరుణ రూపము నీవు. కణుల ముందర కడలియాడి కరుణ రూపము నీవు. పిలచినంతని పలుకరించి ప్రేమ భావము నీవు. పిలచినంతని పలుకరించి ప్రేమ భావము నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం. గిరుల కరువుల తాకి గణగణ పారునదులము మేము. గిరుల కరువుల తాకి గణగణ పారునదులము మేము. అరుణ కిరణపు కాంతి మిలమిల మెరియు కడలివి నీవు. అరుణ కిరణపు కాంతి మిలమిల మెరియు కడలివి నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం. ఎల్ల వేళల మధువు కొరకై వేదపు భ్రమరము నేను. ఎల్ల వేళల మధువు కొరకై వేదపు భ్రమరము నేను. ప్రేమ మధువును నింది ఉన్న హృదయ కమలము నీవు. ప్రేమ మధువును నింది pranam. As we were mentioning earlier, Swami alone is the true end. Swami has said so many times that he is above us, below us, beside us, around us, inside us. And so, in any moment where we feel that, oh my God, I feel so lonely, when we feel there's a lack of love, should always look within, where Swami is always residing within us. मोहब्बत की कमी जब एहसास होती है, जरा झांको, साई पास ही होता है. मोहब्बत की कमी दिल में अगर एहसास होता है, जरा झांको तो पाओगे कि साई पास होता है. ओ कश्मा ये उसी का है कि दुनिया खूबसूरत लगती है, वरना आदमी तो आदमी क्या राज होता है. ओ साई बिन रहा न जाए, साई बिन रहा न जाए, चैन नाए मोहे चैन नाए, चैन नाए मोहे चैन नाए, साई बिन रहा न जाए. जब से देखा तुझको साई मेरे, दर्श के प्यासे नैना सांझ सवेरे. जब से ही दिखा तुझको साई मेरी, दर्श के प्यासे ने सांझ सवेरे. मिट मर जाए तुझ पे हमसे ना रूठे तू, जिंदगी सौंप दे हम चरणों में तेरे. ओ जिंदगी सौंप दे हम चरणों में तेरे. मन मंदिर से जाओ न साई, चैन नाए मोहे चैन नाए, साई बिन रहा न जाए. तू मेरा दिल मेरी धड़कन, तू ही है मंजिल मेरी. मेरा जीवन तेरा दर्शन, मेरी सब सांसें भी तेरी, मेरी सब सांसें तुझ पे कुर्बान हो ये जीवन, तुझ पे कुर्बान हो ये जीवन, अब तमन्ना है मेरी, अब तमन्ना है मेरी, तुझ पे कुर्बान हो ये जीवन, अब तमन्ना है मेरी, अब तमन्ना है मेरी, बस तमन्ना है मेरी, साई बिन रहा न जाए, चैन नाए मोहे, चैन नाए, साई बिन रहा न जाए, साई बिन रहा न जाए. Swami truly is a resident of our hearts. When I was much younger, once I was born, my family and the doctors, they came to know that I was born with a congenital heart defect, wherein in the heart there are some chambers, and the walls between the chambers were not formed properly, and one of the main arteries was also twisted. So the doctors had said I would have to go for surgery as a 3-day-old. So the first surgery they did from the back side, and then 8 months later another surgery was done. And by Swami's grace, through a series of miraculous events, all of that went well, and today I'm able to continue living, continue singing for Swami without any sort of restrictions. So, however, every year I do go for a cardiac checkup, and one time I had gone for the first time I had gone for this once a year I just go for this checkup, and one time, for the first time I went alone without my parents. And on my way back, there was so much traffic on the highway because it started raining, thunder all over the place, and floods, and I was stuck in the car. And as on a different side of things, in Indian classical music, some certain ragas are associated with certain types of weather. And many rasikas, those who like Indian music, they would preferably listen or play or sing those ragas in that particular weather. And so one of the ragas which is associated with rain is Miya Ki Malhar. So some bhajans that come in this raga are like Ghana Ghana Neela Vadanati Sundara. And so while it was raining, I thought, oh my God, I'm sitting here in this traffic jam, and the rain was pouring, and I thought, let me put on some Miya Ki Malhar. So I opened up YouTube on my phone, plugged it into my car, and I was listening to Shahid Parvez playing Miya Ki Malhar on the sitar. And in that mode, with the thunder rumbling, Swami inspired one bhajan in Miya Ki Malhar. So I was thinking about so many things. When you're sitting in the car alone, sitting in traffic for more than 2 hours, and I'm sure many of you are used to that living in Delhi. What do? Our mind just starts wandering in many different places. And so I was thinking of so many different things. So one, I was thinking about, I had this cardiac appointment, so I was thinking about the heart. Then the previous day I was listening to a talk by Shri Vinay Kumar from Karnataka. He's one of the youth coordinators and was instrumental in organizing the Atirudra Mahayagna. So I was listening to a talk by him given in Swami's presence in Brindavan in April 2006, I believe. There was a Karnataka youth had a conference there, youth conference, and the title of the conference was Yuva Spandana. And so one of the meanings of Spandana in Sanskrit means heartbeats. So I thought, hey, this is a very interesting word. Why don't we compose, why can I try to compose a bhajan that involves the word spandana? Very random thoughts, just sitting there in traffic. And with the rain was going and Anki Malhar was also playing in the background, and one bhajan got inspired. Hridaya Spandana Sai Vandana. We worship Swami. हमारे जो हार्ट बीट्स जो धड़कन होते हैं वो फूल के रूप में हमारे धड़कन को स्वामी को अर्पण करते हैं। ये भाव के साथ ये भजन की रचना हुई है। हृदय स्पंदना साई वंदना हृदय स्पंदना साई वंदना गान लोल प्रभु साई गान लोल प्रभु साई बाजत ताल मृदंग वीणा बाजत ताल मृदंग वीणा मुरलिया मधुरा वाद्य मंजीरा मुरलिया मधुरा वाद्य मंजीरा आनंद मंगल आनंद मंगल हृदय स्पंदना साई वंदना गान लोल प्रभु साई अजत ताल मृदंग वीणा मुरलिया मधुरा वाद्य मंजीरा आनंद मंगल आनंद मंगल हृदय स्पंदना साई वंदना। And so these ragas are all associated with different emotions as well. For example, one raga called Charukesi, few bhajans in that raga are Aruna Ramana Shri Guru Deva. This rag Charukesi is sometimes associated with the feeling of love and affection. And one of my favorite bhajans in this raga, Sai Nama Bolo, Govinda Nama Bolo. When it comes to love and affection, Swami says love is expansion love. And so this particular raga, which is typically used for such bhajans that are more mellow, that are more about direct connection with, Swami or the Guru, the same raga is used in Sai bhajans to describe all the different names and forms of Swami. So we'll offer this bhajan to Swami as well. साई नाम बोलो गोविंद नाम बोलो साई नाम बोलो गोविंद नाम बोलो महादेव बोलो जय पांडुरंग बोलो महादेव बोलो जय पांडुरंग बोलो साई नाम बोलो गोविंद नाम बोलो राम कृष्ण बोलो जय बुद्ध साई बोलो राम कृष्ण बोलो जय बुद्ध साई बोलो सौराष्ट्र महावीर येशु साई बोलो सौराष्ट्र महावीर येशु साई बोलो अल्लाह साई बोलो मौला साई बोलो अल्लाह साई बोलो मौला साई बोलो प्रेम साई शांति दाई सत्य साई बोलो प्रेम साई शांति दाई सत्य साई बोलो साई नाम बोलो गोविंद नाम बोलो महादेव बोलो जय पांडुरंग बोलो साई नाम बोलो गोविंद नाम बोलो राम कृष्ण बोलो जय बुद्ध साई बोलो सौराष्ट्र महावीर येशु साई बोलो अल्लाह साई बोलो मौला साई बोलो प्रेम साई शांति दाई सत्य साई बोलो प्रेम साई शांति दाई सत्य साई बोलो गोविंद बोलो गोपाल 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 बोलो प्रेम साई शांति दाई सत्य साई बोलो One of the bhajans composed by Delhi Nagaraj sir, Shri Mahadeva is one of my favorite bhajans. And we feel so inspired with this bhajan. You know, here in New Jersey, this bhajan is like always trademark reserved for the last hour of Lakhanda bhajans. And as a tribute to Uncle who has joined this satsang, would like to offer this bhajan to Swami. Again, Uncle, please forgive us if we make any mistakes in the rendering of this composition. Shirdi Mahadeva, Deva, Shirdi Mahadeva. Shirdi Mahadeva, Deva, Shirdi Mahadeva. शांति प्रेम सद्गुरुनाथा, शांति प्रेम सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडीपुरी वासा देवा, शिरडीपुरी वासा देवा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुदेवा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुदेवा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडी महादेवा देवा, शिरडी महादेवा, शांति प्रेम सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडीपुरी वासा देवा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुदेवा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुनाथा, शिरडी के साईनाथ सद्गुरुदेवा, गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव, 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 गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, शिरडी महादेवा देवा, शिरडी महादेवा। Thank you so much, Uncle, for this wonderful composition. In fact, I had learned this bhajan from my grandmother when she used to sing it. And so it's become a part of, a very important part of our life and connection with Swami. As was mentioned earlier, I've had the opportunity to serve as the lead of the International Young Adults Ocean of Music Committee. And as a part of which we organize programs in Prashantinidam. Every year, the day before Guru Purnima, typically we have the graduation ceremony of the Shri Satya Sai International Leadership Program. As a part of which, we organize a musical offering for Swami. Of course, that did not happen in 2020 because of COVID and everything. But that going to Parthi has, even while being here in the USA, you know, we envy all of you in India because for you going to Parthi is just a one-day train ride or a quick plane journey. For us, we have to plan months in advance, book plane tickets, book accommodation, and it's definitely a hassle to come. But we still feel that Parthi, Prashanti Nilayam, is our own home. And coming to Parthi almost every year has been one of the things that I look forward to the most. And Parthi is definitely, you know, one of the most, it is the most magical place in the entire cosmos. It is the spiritual headquarters of the universe. But from a very physical standpoint, that place, as they say in Sanskrit, the sthala prabhavam, the vibration that you feel in Parthi is truly magical. In 2017, we had a Parthi Yatra by the United States devotees to Prashanti Nilayam, and I had the opportunity to be a part of the program there, and we had a musical offering organized for Swami, comprising of various different Western songs, and so I was playing the octopad in that program, and a small desire in me was, you know, I wish this program had some bhajans or some, you know, Indian devotional songs, because I've been trained in classical music, and bhajans and Indian music is how I connect with Swami. Yes, of course, Western music is also very dear to my heart. In undergrad, I studied, you know, and had degrees in both music as well as biology. So Western music truly is, you know, dear to me. But even though I've officially studied that in school, still I would feel that Indian music and Indian classical music is much closer to my heart. And so in that 2017 trip, I felt, oh, I wish, you know, like kuch adhura reh gaya. I wish we had some opportunity to sing bhajans in that trip. Anyways, we are in Parthi. We had the opportunity to offer these Western songs in Swami's presence, and trying to be grateful for what we already had, I just convinced myself and said, no, at least I'm having, because the seating that I was given for that musical offering was literally 1.1 first row on the aisle right in front of Bhagwan Devya Sannidhi. And so I just convinced myself, and I forgot about that. And right before the program, the National Ocean Coordinator, she came to me and said, Rushi, would you like to offer Aditya Swami at the end of the program? And so I said, yes, definitely. It would be such an honor. And so that's in fact the picture that all of you have seen on the flyer of me offering Arati to Swami in Kulwanthal in July 2017. So after that program was done, Arati was finished. We packed away the instruments and we were going out of the hall after having Bhagwan's darshan. One uncle, slightly short uncle, stopped me right outside the VIP gate of Sai Kulwanthal and said, very good job. He patted me on the cheek and said, you know, very good job with the music program, bahut acha bajaya, and all that stuff. I said, thank you, uncle. And then From his pocket, he pulled out a small bag of 3 or 4 mango candies inside. He handed it to me. And as he was handing it to me, I thought I was lifting my octopad in one hand. So I thought my octopad, I dropped something out of that bag. So I just looked over to make sure I was holding the octopad bag. And then some other devotees had come just to say hi and Sai Ram and, congratulating us for the program. And within a matter of maybe 3 seconds, I just turned my head around and I wanted to turn back to express my gratitude to this uncle for this unexpected prasadam. And lo and behold, he was gone. Who could it be? Maybe Swami, who knows? But things like this happen in Parthi that just capture our minds and capture our hearts and make Parthi what it is. It's truly our own home. Yes, Prashanti Nilayam is in our hearts. Because I love Parthi so much, I've tried to recreate it here, as you see behind us. And try to always be in that Parthi consciousness, as I like to call it. In Parthi, when we've had the opportunity to have these music. So in 2016, in Prashantinam, I had the opportunity to attend the World Youth Festival. And for the opening ceremony of the festival, I was selected as one of the MCs. So I had the opportunity to speak in Sai Kulwant Hall and actually introduce Swami as, the final speaker of that session and pray to Swami on behalf of everyone to give us his divine discourse, stand at the podium of Sai Kulwant Hall, moments that I would never forget. And as a part of that youth festival, we also had a bhajan group, and I was part of the bhajan group. And on the second day morning, I had the chance to sing the bhajan "Love Is My Form" with one brother, Brother Sai Suraj Daswani, who is unfortunately no longer with us. So I had sang that bhajan with him, and then I was going to sing another bhajan, "Namami Brahma Namami Vishnu Namami Maheshwara," with one of my best friends, Brother Sai Santosh Srinivasan, who also joins me in a lot of recordings and composing bhajan music. So I was supposed to sing this bhajan with him. So on the second day evening, this bhajan was slotted at the 4th slot. And the program was done. And after the 3rd bhajan, the pujari came and aarti to Swami's bhajan got cut. The next day morning, again the bhajan was slotted at the 4th slot. Again after the 3rd bhajan, the pujari came and finished the aarti. And then the 3rd day, the last day of the festival, in the evening session, again it was slotted as the 4th bhajan. But again, after the 3rd bhajan, the pujari came and offered aarti. So that bhajan went. And actually that day, the 3rd day evening, we thought that bhajan would come. But instead, that happened to be a Thursday. And so as the 4th bhajan, instead of us singing, Swami's bhajan was played. And lo and behold, that evening, Swami sang "Love Is My Form" in Sai Kulwant Hall, the same bhajan that we had sung the previous day morning. And so it was Swami kind of laughing in our face and saying, man proposes, but God always disposes. What are our plans in front of Swami's plans? And so Swami had kind of prevented us from singing bhajans in Kulwant Hall 3 times. 3 times the bhajan got cut because Aarti was offered to Swami before the bhajan was sung. So in 2019, fast forward 3 years, it was my first year serving as the co-lead of the International Ocean of Music Committee, and we'd organized a music offering for Swami for the leadership program graduation. And we were there in Parthi and we were practicing for the music program. And I had an intense desire that, our group should also sing the bhajans after the program. So I went to the International Youth Coordinator, Brother Deviyesh Tankaria, and I asked him, brother, we have the desire, can we please sing the bhajans? He said, first focus on the music offering. If that turns out to be fine, then we can approach the trust and the ashram authorities for approval to sing bhajans. So a few days before the program, Dr. Reddy and everyone came to review the music program, and they were quite satisfied with Swami's grace. And so we got the approval to do bhajans from our side. Then Brother Anirudh from Radio Sai had to approve us, for singing bhajans. So he came, listened to all the bhajans that we had planned, And we planned for about, I would say, I think like 7 or 8 bhajans, because while the bhajans were going on, there was supposed to be the distribution of the certificates and the mementos for the graduates of the leadership program, and photos were supposed to be taken in front of Swami's Sannidhi. So the previous day we had a dress rehearsal, a full run through of all the Sai Kuluvanthal, and we timed it exactly. It came out to about 7 to 8 bhajans, so we had planned for that much. So the music program was done. We started the bhajans, and then we got, the photo session was just about to end, and I think we were at the 7th or 8th bhajan, and then suddenly from inside, students come out carrying safari pieces and for the boys, and saris for the girls, and they started distributing. This was extra prasadam from Swami, from the central trust from Swami, and these were being distributed. And then again, another round of distribution means we have to fill the time with more bhajans, because Aarti won't be offered to Swami until the distribution is over. And so suddenly we had some backup bhajans ready, but in that extra distribution period, in that session right after the music offering, I had the opportunity to actually end up singing 3 bhajans. And I felt as after the program was done, and we were all the boys, we had gathered in one room, and we were just chatting, late into the night, and just expressing our gratitude to Swami and how well the program had gone. I sat there and realized, wow, in 2016, when Swami kind of denied us the chance to sing 3 times, he fulfilled that same desire 3 years later. And as we say in Hindi, Bhagwan ke ghar pe andher nahi hai, der hi hai. God's delays are not his denials. And so the 3 bhajans that I had ended up singing, I had sang the bhajans with one brother named Kirti Kumar from the Middle East, and we had sang Vahe Guru, then we had sang Hari Narayana, and then what we just sang, Sai Nama Bolo, Govinda Nama Bolo, as the last bhajan, and then Aarti was offered to Swami. And so this, from ये भजन के माध्यम से जो स्वामी के साथ connect होता है, बहुत अनोखा, बहुत अलौकिक होता है. Like the connection that we get with Swami through bhajans is truly divine. If we want to speak to somebody, we can speak like this. In different tones we can speak. Like we say, right? We use the word Sairam for so many different things in the Sai community. We want to greet somebody, we say Sairam. We want to discipline somebody, we say Sairam. We go to Parthi, all the Sevadals, they yell Sairam to discipline us. So the way we speak carries so much emotion, but when we add music to that, it just increases the level of emotion that we feel. And so music is such a wonderful way to connect with Swami, and chanting his divine name. I've mentioned I've had the opportunity to speak to Bal Vikas children many times, and they always ask, Brother Rushi, what is the significance of singing bhajans? Like, what is the scientific proof that singing bhajans is actually beneficial for the universe? We always say, like, what is the, and I always say, in sound we have vibrations that are the way we hear is because atoms of oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen are vibrating in the atmosphere, and that vibration, that physical movement of atoms in the air is what translated by our eardrums and our brains as sound. And so when we sing bhajans, that vibration truly goes all over the world. That's why Swami has instated such practices such as the global Akhanda bhajans. And so, speaking of bhajans, I'd like to conclude the session by narrating one last story about my favorite bhajan. In 2016, as I mentioned during the World Youth Festival, the last session of that trip, I had stayed in Parthi for about 2 weeks. In the last session, I was, of course, we were always very sad to leave when we were in Parthi and we have to leave the place. It's always so sad, and we feel like we're leaving home and we don't know when we'll come back. And so I had just prayed to Swami, that Swami, you should send me off in a nice way. It's immediately the thought just went away, and then I sat for the last bhajan session. Actually, the Maharashtra devotees were celebrating Ashadi Ekadasi. So there was a music offering and then bhajans. And my favorite bhajan of all time is Shambho Shankara Deva. And every time that bhajan is sung in Cycle One Thal or it comes plays anywhere, I feel that Swami is giving me a tap on the back and just reminding me of his presence. And so in that session, the last bhajan ended up being Shambho Shankara Deva. And I would like to conclude this offering to Swami with a small medley of some of my favorite bhajans. It would take about 5 to 7 minutes. I've taken 4 of my favorite bhajans and strung them together in a medley. And please do join along and sing. And of course, the medley will conclude with this Shambho Shankara Deva. चंड किरण कुल मंडल राम चंड किरण कुल मंडल राम श्रीमद् दशरथ नंदन राम श्रीमद् दशरथ नंदन कौसल्या सुखवर्धन विश्वामित्र प्रिय धन विश्वामित्र प्रिय धन राम राम जय राजा राम राम जय सीता राम राम जय राजा राम राम जय साई राम राम जय साई सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूपा प्रशांति निलया देवा राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा शिव शक्ति स्वरूपा बाबा हे दीन पालना बाबा हे प्रशांति निलया देवा हे पूर्णावतारा बाबा राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा तुम अल्लाह हो मौला हो साई राम देवा तुम अल्लाह हो मौला हो साई राम देवा तुम रामा हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा हरि म्हणा तुम्ही गोविंद म्हणा तुम्ही गोपाल म्हणा साई नारायणा गोविंद गोपाल हरि नारायणा श्याम म्हणा राधा श्याम म्हणा राधा श्याम म्हणा साई श्याम म्हणा श्याम म्हणा घन श्याम म्हणा मेघ श्याम म्हणा साई श्याम म्हणा ईश म्हणा सर्वेश म्हणा परतीश म्हणा साईश म्हणा ईश म्हणा सर्वेश म्हणा परतीश म्हणा साईश म्हणा गोविंद गोपाल हरी नारायणा गोविंद गोपाल हरी नारायणा गोविंद गोपाल हरी नारायणा साई गोविंद गोपाल हरी नारायणा शंभो शंकर देवा
शंभो शंकर देवा
भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा बोल हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Thank you so much, brother. I have no words. We were in absolute bliss. There is so much appreciation pouring in for you. People say that they felt they were in Prashanti Nilayam. Some said that they felt as if Sai was amidst us. Thank you so much for giving us these blissful moments filled with divine nectar. The singing was so soulful, especially Mohabbat Ki Kami, which was one of Swami's favorite songs. We really enjoyed each and every moment. It has been so rightly said, Satsangatve Nisangatvam, Nisangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Nischaltatvam, Nischaltatve Jivan Mukti. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam Moodmate. We are already feeling so liberated by the beautiful, soulful satsang today. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. I now invite Sister Manisha to formally offer vote of thanks. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sister Sati. Prem Bhara Sai Ram to all of you. We humbly bow our heads to Swami and pray for Swami's blessings to make us his chosen instruments. Thanks, Swami. Thank you so much, Swami. gratitude to Brother Rushi for joining us right from US and not minding the different time zone. Bhajans that you have played are so divine and blissful. I just felt like you have moved us to Prashanti Nilayam. You're so rejuvenated. Vocally also, you have great and really great tone, great control on high notes, a great overall performance, I must say. I felt so much of positivity and energy in your bhajans that it uplifted the whole environment in the time of this crisis. We're so mesmerized by the way you sung bhajans with all your emotions in each and every lyric. I can feel your emotion. That satsang is the deed of the art. We're so thankful to Swami for such a blissful evening. Thank you, Brother Rushi, for sharing your lovable experiences of your journey with Swami. You have been fortunate and blessed to be in Swami's fold since your childhood. That's true. Many youngsters shy away from openly speaking about being Sai devotee and being involved in seva and spiritual activities. Truly said by you. Keeping check on company you keep, and we should always interact with like-minded people. I totally believe in that. Swami is our truest friend, and I stand by that. Music has been special for you, an expression of innate love for Swami. And of course, composing bhajans. Oh my God, you are so much talented. What should I say? I can't stop saying I can go keep on going, but the time restrain us. And that कवाली you said, मोहब्बत की कमी दिल में अगर एहसास होता है तब साईं पास होता है. This one, oh my God, this really touched my heart. It- we all had so much to learn and rejoice from your experiences and soulful bhajan and your compositions were so awesome. We enjoyed this program totally. Sai Naam Gate Chalo, Hari Naam Gate Chalo. Listening to the glory of the Master